Hi, all you SPMEs out there. Today's video has 3 points, and you're going to want to stick around because the third point is a secret as to how goals can destroy your self-publishing business, and you're definitely not going to want to miss that. So today's video is on setting self-publishing goals. Now, this is something that when you're first getting started as an author, you know that it's important to have some idea of where you're heading to. So you're going to want to set some goals. Now, many times when we first begin, we don't even have an idea of where we're trying to go. So we're thinking, well, I'll set goals, but I'll do it later when I have more clarity. But the problem is, as we start moving forward, how do we know if we're meeting those goals or if we're making progress or not making progress if we don't have an idea of where we're heading? The end result is you start using less and less time on the things that matter, more time on the things that don't matter, and over a period of time we find we're, one, not getting books onto the market, and two, we're not working to market those books that we've spent time building onto the market. So that is what we're going to discuss in today's video. This is Chris Baird from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com. Hit the subscribe button so that we can finally get YouTube's algorithm to start showing these videos to more authors and get the word out so that we can make self-publishing easy again. Now, and in the description, you should grab a copy of my self-publishing checklist to make sure that you are not skipping the steps necessary to get your book onto the market and get it selling. So let's get into today's video. I'm going to start a little bit from my own story. When I first got started self-publishing, I did not have any goals. I guess it was sort of a general goal, which was, well, I want to get a book out there. But in terms of how exactly I might go about doing that, the sub-goals, there was nothing there. So I was like, wow, wouldn't it be cool to have a book on the market? I mean, just like all authors, you have this as your starting intent. I mean, what are you doing? You're writing a book. Why are you writing it? Why are you doing this? How are you doing this? There's all sorts of questions regarding this issue of goals that so many authors just completely ignore, and that is something I want to make sure that you're not doing. So what happens? If you have no goals, you will make no progress as long as this internal motivation isn't there. Now, you might have this internal motivation. I want to do something like exercise more or write more or whatever it is. But in the beginning, we start to do activities that would get us in that direction, but then we quickly lose focus because we do not have this goal in mind. We're not looking at it on a daily basis. Some people have even said writing down your goals every day so that you start the day by asking the activities that I'm doing, how is that in alignment with the goals that I want to achieve? So this is something that a lot of authors struggle with, and I definitely was one of them. This thing that I learned from listening to lots of podcasts and books and YouTube videos just like this one was that there's an importance of breaking down things into what you want to do on a daily basis. So instead of having those long-term goals, breaking it down and saying, okay, I want to get a book out, but what do I need to do on a daily basis in order to reach that goal of getting that book on the market? And for me, it was saying, I commit to writing 1,000 words a day. Now, for you, that might sound like a lot, so maybe 500 words per day would be reasonable. But I actually was able to do it because I naturally have written lots. I write long messages, long emails. It came natural to me. That doesn't make me a great writer. I've never claimed to be that. But I would say that it does mean that I'm able to actually sit down and get that done. And once I hit the 1,000, then I can reward myself or do anything to say I've achieved the day's goal. If I do enough of those days, then I edit the whole thing. So let's say edit a chapter a day or something. And then we go through the other things. Like then I'm going to, the cover and the description, I'll get the description out in a day and all of these things. We put it all together and we're able to get the book onto the market in a period of, it could be as little as 30 days to 60 days, being able to go from nothing to getting a book onto the market. In fact, you could do it in 24 hours. I found later I would be a lot faster with regards to the whole cycle regarding getting the books onto the market and up and selling. Now, but for me, 1,000 words a day. You might be 100 words a day. So on my latest self-publishing book I'm working on it and working on getting my older courses out. And so I'm trying to figure out how to play that. Maybe 100 words a day, but then maybe focusing on one thing, maybe more strategic. And so I'm internally, even today, trying to figure out what exactly is the best way to break it down into the goals. But the end result was I pumped out several books, getting books onto the market that are telling people how to do something that I figured out how to do through the help of a lot of people. We never do anything alone. And those books have been very helpful for people in the past. We're still working on updating some of those, but many of the books, they're still selling like plenty of copies, and people are enjoying and getting value out of the books that I've created previously. But I learned that you will burn out if you do not enjoy the journey. So you need to make sure it's as fun as possible in getting these goals in place. So let's get back. Setting self-publishing goals. So the first point we want to hit today is goals help us figure out whether or not we're on track. If we don't know where the end point is, we won't know if we're on track. And this is one of the things that I adopted through the Get Things Done, or GTD method, that was written, a book many years ago that I've read both it and the updated revised versions of it, and I try to put it into practice. And it starts with one simple idea, which is you need to identify what is the end goal, getting your book on the market and selling, and what is the next step. And that is it. We simply need to break it down and say, what is the next step? Don't use time splitting up your time on 1,000 different things, but what is the next step? And that becomes your goal for the day. What is the next step? What is the next step? Is it writing another chapter? Is it writing 100 words? I don't know. You have it. They call it butt in chair, BIC, this concept of getting your butt in the chair, writing each day, and making progress on your book. People are going to enjoy reading your book. You have value to contribute to the world, but how are you going to achieve that if you don't have a basic goal set down? And that is something I want to help you get in order. But let's go on to the second point. Goals should be focused on things we can control. We're not interested in setting goals for I want to sell 1 million copies, this sort of a thing. We cannot control that. We can make that a higher probability of occurring if we optimize our books. So our goal is not selling 1 million copies. Our goal is optimizing our books so that it would be possible for the algorithms in Amazon and other locations to push our books in front of a lot of people and result in those sales. But we do not have the ability to do that. So we pick something like words per day, or setting a deadline on when we want to get the book published out on the market. So for example, if I write 1,000 words a day and I want the book to be 30,000 words, well then that would take 30 days. Then we'd have the editing, which would take maybe a week. We'd order the cover, that would take a week, and the description. So we could say, for example, in 2 months from today, I want to put the book onto the market. And we've broken it down into sub goals, and we're working on those individual goals each and every day to make sure that we're able to achieve and nail the things that we ourselves have said are important to us in terms of getting our book onto the market by a specific deadline. And we know that we can reach it if we do the sub points to get us there. We do not use too much time on this planning phase. We simply recognize very quickly and we go right to acting. We want to execute, not be planners where we're spending so much time planning and using time on that we're not making progress on getting our book on the market and getting that thing to sell. So this is a huge trap for a lot of people on that particular one. But that brings us to our third point of the day and our secret answer. And this one here is how goal setting can destroy your business. And this one here is where you need to make sure your goals are reasonable, or they will kill your motivation. Now, many people will talk about these huge, audacious goals. I forgot what the acronym. If you remember the acronym, write it below in the comments. I always forget this one, HAGUs or something. Huge, audacious goals, right? But I would argue against that. You will demotivate yourself if you set a goal that's too big. It needs to be achievable based upon you. You know what you're able to do. You know whether you can write so many words a day. You know if you have the time to put creating ads and these sorts of things. So you're going to need to figure out what is reasonable for you and then go in that direction. Because when we do not achieve the goals that we set for ourselves, we demotivate ourselves. So I call it the Everest problem. It's where we see the mountain is so tall that we end up never actually making it, as opposed to saying, how can I break it down to get me to the first base station and then the second base station? So we're not interested at all at the top of the mountain. Don't focus so much on that. We do need to make sure that our intermediate goals are going to eventually get us there, but that's not really our focus on a daily basis. We're simply writing it down and we're saying, okay, this is the goal that we're going to achieve today. So have you set goals for your self-publishing business? I want to know. So write yes if you have in the comments below, and write no if you've never set any goals, you've never really understood the point of goals. I would really want to hear so I know that this is hitting you. And check out above me here for more video answers to your self-publishing questions. Thanks.